The Circuit of the Americas isn't just another track for Oscar Piastri. It's a test of loyalty, a quiet trial between himself and McLaren. Is the team truly standing behind the driver leading the World Championship? Or are they still trapped in their old bias toward Norris? One pit stop decision in Austin could decide who lifts the trophy and who walks away feeling betrayed. Before we dive deeper, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. Not just to support this channel, but to make sure you don't miss stories like this, the ones buried beneath the roar of engines and champagne. Because this time, what's at stake isn't just a title, it's justice inside one of Formula One's most powerful teams. The 2025 Formula One season has reached its boiling point. McLaren has already secured its first Constructors' Championship since 1998, something even Lewis Hamilton couldn't deliver in orange. Yet in the midst of euphoria, their two drivers are trapped in a cold war that could explode at any moment. Oscar Piastri arrives in Austin with a 22-point lead over Norris and 63 over Verstappen. On paper, he has everything he needs to seal his first world title. But behind those numbers lies something far more complicated. Whispers of internal sabotage. It started in Singapore. Lap 1, turn 1. Norris lunged for an aggressive overtake, made contact, and Piastri lost position. He still won the race, but the world watched as Zak Brown, McLaren's boss, publicly called Norris the lead driver afterwards. Those few words, simple yet sharp, cut through the team like a blade. Days later, leaked telemetry data revealed Norris received more frequent strategy updates over radio than Piastri during that same race. To some, that was proof of favoritism. To McLaren, it was just normal coordination. But everyone in the paddock knows nothing is ever normal in Formula One politics. Since the midpoint of the season, McLaren has looked almost untouchable. The MCL 39, with its revolutionary aero and floor package, has become the grid's new benchmark. Piastri's won in Monaco, Canada, and Singapore. Norris has scored 5 consecutive podiums and a win in Austria, yet their rhythm of success has been anything but balanced. At Silverstone, Piastri was forced to stay out 2 laps longer than planned because the team prioritised Norris's pit stop. At Monza, Norris got the fresh tyres first. And in Japan, the now infamous hold position call stopped Piastri from attacking. For the public, that's strategy. For Oscar, it felt like a quiet message that his victories weren't the ones McLaren wanted most. Former Haas boss Guenther Steiner, now a sharp-tongued pundit, warned, if McLaren keeps using these papaya rules, those unwritten team orders, they'll crash into each other before the season ends. It sounded like a joke. But in a world measured by milliseconds, jokes can turn into disasters. The numbers make it harder to dismiss. In the last 3 races, Piastri's average pit stop time hit 3.5 seconds, far above Red Bull's 2.1 benchmark. Norris, meanwhile, rarely crossed the 3-second line. According to Racing News 365, a slow stop in Baku cost Norris a podium to Verstappen. But in Singapore, it was Piastri's turn to suffer. McLaren's A-pit crew, usually assigned to the faster car, had been allocated to Norris for 2 consecutive weekends. Johnny Herbert, former F1 driver, called it a fragile issue waiting to break. And in Austin's sprint format, every second matters. One botched pit stop could decide a championship. Zak Brown, for his part, denies any favoritism. "We don't pick sides," he said. "We prioritise what's best for the team." But as the old paddock saying goes, if you need to insist you're neutral, you probably aren't. Austin itself is a beast. The Circuit of the Americas, COTA, 5.5 kilometres of rhythm, chaos and precision, punishes the slightest misstep. Sector 1, with its Silverstone-style S's, demands absolute control. Sector 2, a long DRS straight, rewards bravery. Sector 3, with its slow corners, is where pit strategy wins or dies. On paper, Piastri thrives here. He manages his tyres like Verstappen and brakes like a surgeon, an edge that suits the high downforce MCL 39. But Verstappen remains the master of Austin. He's won the last 3 races here, and Red Bull's RB21 now carries a new diffuser worth 0.3 seconds per lap. Without full team backing, Piastri won't just be fighting Verstappen, he'll be fighting his own garage. Motorsport.tech calls Austin the most strategic weekend of the year. One sprint, two qualifying sessions, and two separate pit windows. Every decision multiplies in impact. If McLaren lets Piastri race freely, he could score 34 points from the sprint, main race, and fastest lap combined. But if the radio crackles with another "let Lando through" command, the championship could crumble. Steiner laid it out bluntly. McLaren must back Piastri now. This isn't favoritism, it's logic. Split strategies only open the door for Verstappen, and that's McLaren's paradox. They've already secured the Constructors' crown. There's nothing left to divide. Yet they know if Norris loses the title fight, the fallout could shake their foundations. Norris is the face of McLaren, the poster boy of Woking, the long-term investment. Piastri is the future, but the future came earlier than anyone planned. Now Zak Brown must choose loyalty to the brand he built or the championship within reach. Through it all, Piastri has stayed silent. No outbursts, no headlines, just quiet, relentless efficiency. The Australian kind of defiance. He knows every word can be twisted, every expression misread. So he speaks through performance instead. After the Singapore clash with Norris, he said nothing over team radio. At Silverstone, when his pit stop ran 2 laps long, all he said was, "Understood." Behind that composure lies something more dangerous, the warning of a man who knows he's being watched. A source inside McLaren admitted, "Oscar knows what's going on, but he wants to settle it on track." And maybe that's why Austin feels like the final trial, the Texas test. Meanwhile, Verstappen waits in the shadows. The reigning 3-time champion understands better than anyone. The more McLaren fights itself, the easier his job becomes. Red Bull brings a lightweight chassis upgrade for Austin and hopes the Texas heat will push McLaren's tyres past their limits. If Verstappen wins and Piastri misses the podium, that 63-point gap could shrink to 40. And suddenly, the title race is back from the dead. For Verstappen, this isn't about speed, it's about patience. "McLaren is fighting McLaren," he joked to Sky F1, a line that sounded like humour, but hit like truth. For McLaren, this is about legacy. Since 1998, they haven't had a driver bring the world title back to Woking. Hamilton couldn't, Button couldn't, Alonso couldn't. Now the chance has come again, but with the same price attached, internal sacrifice. Zak Brown said after Singapore, "We want to outrun Verstappen with humility." But what kind of humility remains when your 2 best drivers don't trust each other? Austin will be the stage. Maybe it's where Oscar Piastri silences the doubts, wins the sprint, wins the main race, and stretches his lead to 97 points over Verstappen, a nearly unassailable margin. Or maybe it's where McLaren's subtle sabotage resurfaces, and Verstappen takes advantage of the chaos to reignite his title defense. In Formula One, victory isn't just about who's fastest, it's about who you can still trust. And for Piastri, trust has become the rarest fuel of all. So what's truly worth more for McLaren? Loyalty to the golden boy, or honesty toward the man actually leading the world? Tell me in the comments below, is this just team strategy or a quiet act of sabotage?